Hello everyone, and welcome to Chirp Splat Guides, a rundown on weapons in both turf war and anarchy battles. My name is Chaos, a friend of Phono's. His voice is still whack, and he asked me to do the voiceover as a favor, so here we are. Today we're going to be going over the blasters. These unique shooters launch a projectile forward a set distance that explode into a firework. Though there are 6 of them, they fall into 3 categories in strategies: short range, mid range, and long range. I'll be covering them in groups accordingly. I'll start with the standard blaster to explain some features all blasters share. As a class, blasters award positioning and spacing. You want to stay the correct distance from your target where you'll hit the explosion. A direct strike does do more damage, and for most blasters results in a one-hit splat. But you can't count on hitting it against a mobile opponent, especially if they're running up close at you. The projectile speed is low as well, so for the most part you'll have to lead your shot quite a bit. Another thing to keep in mind, if your shot hits a surface, instead of exploding, it sparks, doing far less damage. It makes it hard for you to shoot an opponent below you when you're on a ledge, since it creates a blind spot where if you don't hit a direct hit, you'll essentially do no damage. Inverse of this, and the main strength of the blaster, is their ability to shoot around obstacles using the splash damage. This can be used to hit opponents on ledges, around corners, and very notably, on the tower and tower control. Also good to know, your weapon does not have any bullet stray as long as you're on the ground, but if you jump, shots can go wild. With that out of the way, let's look at the usual weapon features for the mid-range blaster. The standard blaster has a slow fire rate and is on the low end of mid-range, matching the splatter shot. Its coverage isn't great. It covers a good amount of ground with solid ink, but its low fire rate and weird projectile shape hold it back. Its close relation, the range blaster, is quite similar to the standard blaster. However, as its name implies, it has a bit further range. Not enough to bring it out of the mid-range, but it can complete with the nozzle nose and similar. The trade-off is slower fire rate and more ink consumption. Both of these will splat in one shot if you can hit directly, or 2 with the splash damage. They also have powerful subs and specials. The standard blaster has the auto bomb and the big bubbler. The bubbler is fantastic for holding objectives and helping your teammates get back into the fight, while the auto bomb lets you flush out enemies your splash damage can't quite hit. The range blaster meanwhile has the suction bomb, filling a similar role as the auto bomb, and the wave breaker, which marks enemies and weakens them to the point your splash damage can finish them off in one hit. As for build, well, a lot is up to personal preference. As a general guideline, Ninja Squid, Stealth Jump, and Last Ditch Effort are all very good Slayer abilities. You'll want Swim Speed to keep you mobile, and a lot of folks enjoy Intensify Action as well. Theirs aren't completely bad abilities for you. Here's a loadout to get you started, but feel free to swap stuff around for what you like. So now for some gameplay. In Turf War, you're the sort who is hoping to splat enough opponents to make up for your awful coverage. The good news, you annihilate most of the coverage meta weapons like the arrow spray. Hunt them down on the edge of the map, splat them from outside of their reach, rinse and repeat. This similar strategy will apply for all of the blasters. Meanwhile, for Anarchy, you're primarily a Slayer, but can also help zone opponents by threatening with your blaster. This is reversed for the range blaster, who tends to be better at the zoning, but also can act as a Slayer. Your playstyle will be similar though. Stay at your appropriate range from opponents, aiming for direct shots, but at a distance your splash damage will hit them if you miss. You want to be single tapping shots, aiming each one, rather than holding down the fire button. Also, make sure to reposition between shots when on even ground with your opponent. You're quite good at handling folks camping on ledges or behind terrain. If your team manages to wipe the rest of the opponents, it's usually your job to harass or splat the opposing team's anchor if they have one. It's probably worth practicing your angles in recon mode so you know how to hit folks in common camping spots. You are a pretty hard counter for both chargers and splatlings, being able to hit them from where they can't hit back, and forcing them to move even if you don't splat them. You also excel at sharking thanks to your devastating damage, so if you have some well-placed ink puddles, make use of them to cut folks off holding the objectives and heading to it. Next, let's look at the close range blasters. The Clash Blaster and the Luna. The Luna has a slow firing rate, but the explosions are massive, and if you get a direct hit, it will one-shot, while splash damage requires 2 hits. The Clash Blaster, meanwhile, has a fast firing rate, but has smaller, lower damaging explosions, requiring 2 direct hits to splat, or 4 splash damage hits. So let's look at a fight where you're acting as a Slayer. Starting with the Luna specifically, you're a very immobile weapon who needs to get into the enemy's face. Unfortunately, this means you need to count on your teammates' ink coverage a lot to get in. When you're alone, you'll generally want to go for the flanks and surprise opponents. It's easy to just randomly fire at folks since your blast radius is massive, but remember your time to kill between a single direct shot and 2 splashes is massive, so at least try to aim. Both of these blasters have splat bomb subs, which is lovely for cutting off opponents or just helping corral them to where you want them. The Luna has the zip caster for a special, which in my experience should just be used to catch long range opponents off guard, removing your weakness of low mobility and range. Now let's look at the Clash. It's much more mobile thanks to its faster firing rate, allowing you to ink turf as you go along. The main difference between it and the Luna is you can be too close to your opponent as a Clash Blaster. There's a blind spot between the explosion point and you where an opponent can stand and just rip you apart, so make sure to mind your spacing. Your special is the Trizooka, which is just a good pushing tool. Do keep in mind, both of these blasters do still have the power to hit opponents on the ledge, just not as tall of a ledge. Make sure to use that. Finally, we have the Rapid Blaster, which continues the confusing name scheme for the blasters. The standard Rapid Blaster does fire faster than the standard blaster, but its most notable feature is its increased range. This comes at a cost of lower damage, requiring 1 direct hit and 1 indirect shot to splat. The indirect shots do 25 to 80 damage, so the number of hits required may vary. Jump firing is usually a bad idea for these, since the spread is pretty crazy. The Pro version has the same damage, but longer range and slower firing rate. Both of their subs are used to slow oncoming opponents, with the base Rapid having landmines and the Pro having a toxic mist. The Rapid has triple ink strike for the special, while the Pro has the incredibly powerful ink vac, which Phono went on an incredibly long rant about in the Tentabrella segment of the Brella video. Basically, make sure to use this with your team near an objective and it will be the strongest special in the game. As for your build, it will be quite different than the other blasters. Being a backline, you probably want to swap out Stealth Jump and Ninja Squid for anything else. Main Ink Saver and more swim speed might be a good swap in. So how do you play with these? You're a backline for your team. You can act as a pseudo anchor, but you don't have the range most have. You want to sit back and provide covering fire for your teammates and weaken opponents for them to finish off. While you can perch high, this does leave a large blind spot where you have to directly hit someone or you'll hit the ground and spark. I usually find success playing on a similar height to teammates, but just sitting really far back. Don't be too fussed about getting splats. You'll get a ton of assists weakening opponents for your Slayers to finish off. Remember your spacing. If there's ever a chance you're about to get ran down, just run away. Your Toxic Mist and landmines can help with this. You're pretty mobile for this kind of support, so help your team push or retreat accordingly as soon as the battle shifts. With that, we've covered the blasters. Please subscribe if you would like to see more. Like if you enjoyed, and let me know any additions or corrections you'd like to have seen in the comments below. If you want to hear more from me and Chaos, check out my podcast Because of Fergie, which will be linked in the end card and in the description below. Thanks.